testing. Now, there's a bunch of liberal lobbyists in Austin trying to do away with the testing and say go back to the Iowa test of basic skills or the SRA exam and all. That's fine maybe for seniors for college entrance, but we need the testing, but we do not need 45 days of testing out of every school year. Get down to the end of course testing, get relevant, make the test relevant to the textbooks and the learning goals that have been approved and adopted by the State Board of Education. And I hope you'll support any legislation that does that and examine all of it to make sure that they're not getting a lot of the liberal, anti-American, anti-Christian bias into the public schools.
You know, when people talk to me about C-Scope, and you heard some of these horror stories, I thought some of this stuff is too fantastic to be true. And Steve Tope brought me one of the lessons, and there they were. It was a lesson about, you know, how colors and symbols on a flag can have meaning, and then had the children role play creating a flag for a communist country. And he said it was on my desk. I just thought, the fact that we even hire people in the state of Texas to any position in government that don't have the good sense to know that that's wrong really bothers me. And this is, again, why we need more local control. Because when stuff goes bad out of Austin, it takes years to unwind it. If something goes bad in Tyler, we got a chance to grab the guy at the grocery store and say, straighten up. And so I hope we're going to give some more flexibility to our local school districts to do some of the things you're talking about. Anybody else?
I think there are 700 schools in the state of Texas that are using C-Scope. How many? 850, okay. But that's a lot, and it's not good. It's not good at all.
Go ahead. Bob's got a question.
Joanne has talked to us about all the duplication. What can the legislature do to reduce the size of the state government by reducing all of the duplication?
Well, that's a seemingly simple answer, but a complex problem set. The first, and this is going to sound so simple that you're going to think, Schafer, that doesn't even make sense, but the first step is to stop creating new programs. Okay? And you would not believe the number of people that come through my office asking for more regulation and more money. And every time it's in the name of doing something good. And I've filed bills to do away with, you know, all the barber and cosmetology licenses, the interior design licenses. We filed an efficiency bill that takes some pressure off businesses that do the rental purchase agreements. There are a number of bills that are going to go in front of the Government Efficiency and Reform Committee that get to this. But it's almost as if every time we take a step forward on that, here comes a flood of bills behind it. Constantly more regulations on business. And sometimes I get really frustrated about this issue because you want to go down there and say, okay, this is going to be like shooting fish in a barrel, and you want to go on offense. But very quickly you find what you're doing is you're playing defense the whole time. And it's even from your colleagues that are Republicans. And it's frustrating because there's just this general feeling that if it's good for business, it's good for Texas. Well, usually what it is it's good for a certain business who's already up and running, and they want a few more regulations that keeps the competitor out. And that's the problem. And they have powerful lobbyists. You know, for instance, Beer and wine had been around this earth for thousands of years, right? But you would not believe the regulations that are in place to protect certain distributors of beer and wine. So that the guy who just wants to have a craft brewery over here and sell something, restaurants that sell it, they're told by law who they can buy it from. They can only buy it from certain places. It's everywhere. It's in the insurance code. There's lack of competition. Has anybody ever heard of title insurance? I am filing a bill to allow price competition for title insurance. Did you know the state of Texas completely fixes the price of title insurance for your homes? It's completely set by the state. That's actually something that communist countries do. But we do it in Texas. It's the only product or service that I know of in Texas where the government sets the price. And I am filing legislation on that, and you would think the sky would fall. I've been warned by senior members about filing this bill. Kid you not, some of the early advice I got, don't do it. They told, this was a quote, if you want to see the quiet hand of the legislature at work, file a bill that is perceived as being negative to the title insurance industry. And that motivated me to get work done in my bill. There are so many places where we don't allow competition, we have duplicative services. We're funding things we shouldn't be funding. We're funding the Arts Commission. We shouldn't be funding the Arts Commission. And a lot of this is going to have to be done by amendment on the House floor because we're probably not going to get as much done in the committee. We didn't get as many conservatives on the Appropriations Committee as we wanted. My desk mate is Charles Perry from Lubbock. He's one of those conservatives. Brian Hughes is another one. I wanted to sit by Charles Perry, the accountant from Lubbock, who is a Tea Party guy who is serious about cutting unnecessary spending. And he and I sit on the House floor, and he gives me the download every day about what's happening in committee. And I chose my seat on the House floor because of that, because I knew he would be in the middle of the fray. And as a freshman, I would not get a position on the Appropriations Committee. So the bottom line is there is meaningful effort to try to get rid of some of those things. But the jury's out on how well we're going to do it.
We received a vivid picture last week of what's going on the border, one piece of our border. There's a lot of issues, obviously, that everybody in this room is aware of. What, if anything, do you feel, Matt, is going to come out of the legislature? We know there's a lot of laws that are unenforced, for example. Is anything different going to happen in Texas? Is the legislature going to address this at all, one way or the other? Specifically, things like sanctuary cities, sex trafficking, those sorts of things that are going on. Just what's your opinion? What's your position?
I wish I had good news for you, but I don't think we're going to see meaningful legislation this cycle. And that's because of the committee appointments and the committee process. I do not believe state affairs, all the bills dealing with illegal immigration, for the most part, go through state affairs. And I don't believe there is a significant mood in the State Affairs Committee for meaningful progress on that. I really don't. Sex trafficking, possibly, yes. That's getting a lot of attention. It doesn't really have the same political ramifications that the immigration issue does. One of my buddies, Giovanni Capriglione from Southlake, has an idea that just simply says that businesses around the state could get a certified Texas seal to put on their stores. It says, I'm a certified Texas business. And in order to get that, you have to tell them that you are voluntarily complying with E-Verify. And so it can be completely voluntary. But it would let our citizens know which businesses are certified Texas businesses and which are not. And it would all be voluntary. They would pay a minor fee, they pay a small fee, if they wanted to do it, so it wouldn't be a tax, it would be only if you want to do it, you can do it, you don't have to. But some way that we could let our businesses and let our people know who's complying with the law and who's not. And quite frankly, I'm not optimistic that we're going to get much done this time. And part of that is due to the fact that we lost the Hispanic vote so much in the national election. And that feeling of angst is being poured into the state. And I think it's really put a damper on some otherwise good legislation. Bob?
Comment and a question regarding local control of schools. We've got 3 board positions that are open now. We need somebody in here to run for it. And we could use your attendance at one of our Thursday, once a month board meetings at TISD. The other is, we can talk about all these bills that we're going to be putting up, but, with Strauss in there, what's the outlook that, what percentage is going to pass or even get a vote?
Well, the thing about it is we can still get things done on the House floor. The committee process is where a lot of the work is done, but we can still get things done on the House floor. And some of us are organized, more organized than people in Austin really realize. If you ask me about it, I'm not going to tell you, because we're doing things and we're working together as conservatives in ways that haven't been done before. And so I'm optimistic that some of the practices that have gone on in the past, they're going to have a light on them this time. It's going to be harder for them to fudge the budget and do some of the things that they did last time. Bob, I don't have a good answer for you. We're running into politics down there. There's been some new people, but there's still a lot of people down there in powerful positions that don't necessarily agree with us on everything. And we're working with them. You don't get anything done in Austin by yourself, okay? And I'm working, and I'm respectful to members that I don't agree with. I'm passionate about issues, but it's not personal. You keep your passion, you keep your politics based on the issue at hand and not the person. I think that's the best way to approach it, and I'm not always perfect at it, but that's my goal.
Go back to the border again. What you're saying to me is that we have people, citizens in this state, that are being threatened, their lands are being walked on, and the legislatures that are supposed to be running this state think it's okay. Come on, give me an idea of what in the world it is that they think that if they were living there, that they wouldn't do something different.
Well, I do think that on the issue of funding for DPS, Department of Public Safety, I think we will make some progress. But I was addressing my comments earlier to stricter enforcement of illegal immigration issues from the state level. And we already know the feds are not doing their job. At the state level, increasing enforcement, okay? Here's the atmosphere in Austin. We just got our tail kicked in the federal elections, in the White House. And all political professionals are telling us, look at the Hispanic vote, okay? You lost it. You lost it big. That's the fear. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that the way we communicate is important, but I also believe that our principles are important. And so, to answer your question,
Well, do we give the state of Texas back to Mexico just for their vote?
that's the wrong answer.
We're not asking for additional, we're just asking for the laws to be enforced.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But the idea that we're going to have significant legislation at the state level passed this time, I'm not optimistic. I'm just not. And I'm telling you like I see it. I don't want me to tell you otherwise. Chief.
You said you're talking about it's just politics and it's nothing personal. It's personal with me. What they do, the Republican Party, to try to kill the Tea Party, because then we wouldn't have what we have today if we wouldn't vote for the Tea Party. kill people that are willing to work for change.
Well, I got to brag on Joanne Fleming a minute because a few weeks ago she was down and we had a Tea Party caucus meeting. And we held the meeting. And you know there were some people in that room that may not agree with her on a lot of stuff, but really wanted to be there because they wanted to have the Tea Party like it. Let me tell you, there were almost 30 Republican House members, and there were 4 or 5 state senators there listening to Joanne. And that's progress. Okay? She had a room full of them, and they were listening. And they showed up to listen to her. So, good on her for doing that. We're going to keep that up. I don't know what to tell you. You know, this is politics. It's a rough sport. It's a contact sport. And the Tea Party has got to continue that idea. Because guess what? If you want to try to keep spending our money like crazy, see how that works out, okay? We can always just, why don't you try it our way for a change? We've been doing it your way for years, and it's not working. And so, Chief, I agree with you. And I'm not afraid to stand up next to Tea Party people. I mean, people that actually care to read the Constitution. How can you turn your back on those people? I don't understand.
Next question.
I'm a retired teacher, 7 years, and elementary principal, 27 years. And this fad that we're going through now with the instructional programs is a fad. There's no one in industry or anything else who likes to get off on tangents any more than public schools do. We chase these rabbits like we're doing now with our curriculum. And while I was principal, we had one called Ethno-Read program that was forced on almost all elementary schools. And it was a superficial kind of program, made a lot of noise, there was a lot of confusion. It was much easier to teach because the teachers didn't have to do much. There were fewer papers to follow up on, and kids didn't learn. Now they've gone into this new program that we're discussing here, and here's a problem that bothers me. These kids come through elementary school, into middle school, and then into high school, and they're given a diploma. You cannot tell by that diploma whether they were the valedictorian or the class clown who flunked everything. There's no way to know. I would suggest that at least the state suggest and make it optional for the local districts, and I can name a few who would not do it. But rather than give a diploma to everyone, give those who make the qualifying C, B, or A grade a diploma. Those who do not get that, and we're pushing them on out, giving them a diploma because we have no place for them. Give them a certificate of attendance, not a diploma.
Matt, get back on immigration. Just a message for Austin. The number one issue on every poll in Texas is illegal immigration. It's not because they want amnesty. What they don't realize down there is they think that the Tea Party people and other people that believe like this will always vote Republican. They won't. I know for one fact, I will never, ever again vote for somebody that will not handle immigration. To me, we're giving our country away. It's causing us innumerable problems, and we're also costing a whole lot of money. And so by putting their heads in the sand and saying, we're going to get the Hispanics vote, or we're going to worry about it, fine. If you give amnesty, they're not going to vote for Republicans. The polls have shown that generally second and third generation Hispanics will vote, Republican Party. First ones go over 90% for Democrats. All that's gonna happen is you're gonna make everything happen.